Today's video is Instagram chooses my reads, but there is a twist. They don't know which books they'll be choosing. This video will be everything autumn, cozy books, and cozy at-home vibes. So make sure you grab yourself a nice warm tea or coffee before relaxing and watching this video.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have remembered to do my intro. Yes, big round of applause. Thank you. I do have a group of guys actually parked behind me from a college. I think they're probably 17. And they're all laughing in their car, and I'm a bit scared that they're laughing at me because I'm talking to myself in the car and I don't want to look in my rear vision mirror because I'm scared. I'm so scared. If I just go low enough, they won't be able to make eye contact with me in it. Anyway, let's try get over my fear. This will be a blindly choosing my reads but autumn edition. I've tried to choose some books that are either related to autumn or just this cozy season time, or books that I want to read during these months, or just books that are on my TBR. A couple days ago I put up on my story a few photos for everyone to vote on. I did try to do it through TikTok, but oh god, all these kids are coming out of school. No. Okay, yeah, I moved spots. I was too nervous to be able to even do anything when I was around those kids. I shouldn't be around a school. I'm too old for that. Back to what I was saying, I gave a quick rundown of what everything was about, but I'll just quickly say it again in case I've forgotten. Basically, you guys will be voting on all my autumn reads. There will be books that are just related to either the autumn itself or just what I want to read in the cozy seasons. I put up polls a couple days ago. You guys have already voted. I've got all the results back for all 3 books you've chosen, and firstly, starting with the first book, I'm going to show you guys what the emojis were. So on the top book, we did have a bird and a flower. They were representing just the illustration. I didn't really know how to describe this book. I don't really know too much about it. I just know that lots of people love it and that it's just spooky vibes. On the other one, we have a vampire and some money. This was more related to the title of the book. It is a new release as well, so there's not many people who would know what this is. I put them both up. The results came back. They were so close. I mean, a few of them were really close, and then the other one was just drastically different in result. This one was super close. I'll show you guys what the books are. But they were Belladonna as the top one and Filthy Rich Vampires as the bottom image. The winner was actually Filthy Rich Vampires, which I'm super excited to read. All I know about this is that it's about a rich vampire who is trying to fake date someone to get the higher-ups off his back. So it says, Julian Rusix has a problem. He's single and the world's wealthiest vampire. A social season is about to begin. Julian would rather stake himself than participate in the marriage market. But as the eldest, most eligible, he must find a wife before the season ends, whether he likes it or not. He literally stumbles into his life at the gala. He knows that she's the last person he could ever fall in love with. She's too innocent, too kind, and way too human. But now that she knows about his world, she's also a walking target. She needs protection and he needs a fake girlfriend. But with each of their moments they shared, new dangers emerged. As a desire is forbidden as their stolen touches, an awakening of a long dead heart, and a secret that could tear them both apart. That sounds so fucking good to me, and just exactly what I need right now, especially with the weather outside. So I'm so excited to start this. I'm just about to go actually to a bookshop and also to a cafe, and I'll probably just read in the cafe and get started on it because I'm so excited. I do believe as well it's a standalone. I'll give you guys an update once I've read a little bit of it. I just got to chapter 9. No. What? Why am I so tired? I just got up to chapter 20, page 153. So far I'm liking it. I'm not loving it, but I haven't really got into anything like interesting. They're still like building the world and like their relationship and like what's really happening. It's not really got into like the action just yet. Basically a synopsis of like what's happened is Julian has met Thea at a party. She was playing her cello and he has like this like scent over her that he's picking up, but he's not sure if other vampires can smell her the same way that he is. It's just like consuming him. Basically it's just like Bella and Edward Cullen vibes. Like he's can't control himself. Like he is obsessed with her scent. He just knows where she is at any time because he can smell her. So when she's at this event, she breaks her cello because he scares her, and then he's trying to protect her from being in danger of like any other vampires that are at this event. Now what's happened is he's trying to get his family off his back about this riots that they have, which is like every 50 years, and then they have to like marry a familiar, which is usually a witch, and like get pure bloods and have babies and stuff. And so he doesn't want to be part of it. So now he's told his mom that she's his girlfriend because she saw them together at that event. He's found out now that she has like lots of debts with her family and she's not very rich, and he wants to help her out and blah blah blah, and in return she has to fake date him to get her mother off her back. She's sort of agreed to it, and they're now at their first like riot event, and she's now having to help him. That's what I mean by like nothing's really happened. It's just like setting up. It's just been like quite a few cringy moments. It's like hard to read. Plus I found it weird, like how like their names are just like weird. I get like Julian's like an old name, like I get that. Julian Russix, I think that's how you say his last name. Then her name is Thea Melbourne. Melbourne, like the city in Australia. I'm like, why Thea Melbourne? It's just weird. Yeah. Anyway, their names are weird. I've had a few cringe moments. So far, like, I still want to read. I still want to find out what's happening. Like, the writing's not, like, bad or anything. Like, it's just, like, half-decent writing. I don't know. Maybe it's just, like, the whole vampire thing of, like, him being addicted to her blood smell. It's, like, sort of, like, insta-lovey. Oh, and I forgot to mention, like, this is the virgin trope in here. So it's, like... That's what I mean by it's just like cringe sometimes. Like if you're gonna do that trope, you've got to do it right. Like you can't make it weird, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading and I'm probably about just almost halfway, so I'll let you guys know once I finished and if my thoughts have changed. I finished Filthy Rich Vampires yesterday. I liked it, but I only liked the ending, like the last like 25-30%. First 50% was like really slow, and I just think the author's writing was not the best. It just wasn't like my favorite. I know there was just like a few things, like it was just really cringy sometimes, and I did end up giving it 3 stars. And I know I mentioned earlier that it wasn't a series, but it is actually a series, and I think it's a 5-book series. I think I still will continue the series because it did end on a cliffhanger, and I kind of want to know what's going on now that the action sort of built up. And maybe it was just the world building at the start. It wasn't like the best world building because it's like 21st century vampire. Like that's, you know, the song 21st Century Vampire? Like that's what this book is. Like he is a vampire from 1,000 years ago and he's woken up and now he's in the 21st century. It had the virgin trope and it was just, I don't know, like it wasn't done right. Towards the end it was a bit better. Like I didn't feel as like weird about it because I understood like why things were being weird. But the way that it was handled at the start, I was like, oh, cringe. It was just too much. To give it 3 stars. Yeah, I probably, if I do get the second book, I might read it. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna, I'm not eager to jump straight into the next book. Now let's talk about the next books that you guys voted on. I've got the book sitting here. I'm so excited to start the one that you guys have voted on. So the emojis that I had for this one, I had the top one, which was the scroll and star emoji, and the bottom one was an academia hat and a blood emoji. This one was quite close as well, and the whole time it kept going like 50-50 or 49 and 51. It was just like kept going back and forth, back and forth. I really wanted one that lost to kind of win, but I'm still excited to start the one that's been chosen. The books we had to choose from were Divine Rivals and Masters of Death, and you guys chose Masters of Death from the emojis. All I know is that it's vampires and academia. I've never read an Olivia Blake book, but like she just gets all like this amazing praise. I've heard such good things about all her other books, so I'm kind of excited to read like a newer release before going into her other stuff. Plus this book just has like the most beautiful artwork. I think it's like an exclusive edition from Waterstones. The cover's just back and it's got a foiled spine. I'm gonna start this today. That vampire book just didn't satisfy my needs and I want to read another vampire book, so I'm excited to start this. I think it's like less than 400 pages, 402 pages. I'm gonna jump in and start this now, but I will be reading this one very soon. Ignore my hair, I've got a treatment and I'm just about to go and wash it all out, so I thought I'd just do a quick update before I go upstairs. So last night I read up to page 96. I'm gonna start out by saying I've never read one of Olivia Blake's books, and I don't know if all her books are like this, but maybe I'm just not like the smartest for her. But the first 50 pages I was so lost with her writing. I don't know if this was like intentionally set up this or if all her books are like this, but the first few chapters they were sort of like talking as if I was the main character and I was trying to work out what was happening to Death, who's like the main character almost in this book. I was really confused. It took me a while to grasp fully like what was happening and what I was trying to figure out and who were the main characters that I needed to like put interest into. It wasn't until maybe just after the 50 pages everything sort of really started to make a bit more sense, and like the writing wasn't so much aimed at as if I was the character. It was aimed as if I was just reading about these characters in third person, which made it so much easier for me. Yeah, so I need to like probably research about her books and like how they're done, because if they're all like this might not be my particular taste of writing. Now that I'm understanding it more, those last 50 pages I was like interested in to continue reading, as where the first 50 I was pushing through. I was almost like, I don't know if I can do this. But now I'm gonna say I'm interested a little bit more to continue going, but I probably will have to like designate time to say like you need to read at this time for like an hour and just see if like something picks up. What I do want to note is I was gonna put an extra clip in prior to this, but I just thought I'm just gonna tell you guys now in the update, because I thought this was an academia book. Like I don't know where I got that from, and that's why I put the academia hat in the emoji. It's not. I don't know where I got that from. I don't know where I was reading. This is about a real estate agent, a vampire real estate agent, and she is contacting someone called Fox, and Fox is like, he's like the son of Death, and he is a medium and he's able to contact Death, and only he's able to like reach him. And now he acts as if he's a medium and people come to him for advice on people who've passed, and you know, he's not a nice guy, let's just put it that way. He has taken advantage of people and their situations already in the first 100 pages. First chapter as well, you find out this is a story that Death is telling. I think this is what's happening. Death is telling the story and he is saying that his son has betrayed him, and this story is to tell how the betrayal happened. So that's what I think I've grasped so far. The plot after those first few chapters now has moved into Fox meeting, what's her name? Fuck. I know her nickname's V, but I forgot her full name. So V is a vampire real estate agent. She's now been given this house because the guy, Tom, I forgot his last name, Parker or something. Tom has passed and he's a ghost in this house that she's trying to sell, and he doesn't know how he died. V was told by one of her friends that this guy, Fox, is able to contact Death and us, and he might be able to assist with like getting this ghost out of the house. Because the ghost, Tom, has already said, I'm gonna haunt this house I don't want you to sell it. It's my house. And if you sell it to anyone, I'll make their life like misery almost. So now she's like, oh, I need to deal with this. And yeah, so far I've literally got up to the point where she's asked him to help, and now they're heading to the house and to try and figure out how this ghost has passed. We've gotten a few clues here and there. We're getting like snippets of like flashbacks almost, but it's kind of funny because the flashbacks, when he's telling them, V keeps like interrupting, and like I don't know, it's just like there's lots of dialogue going on. There's not a lot of explaining, let's just put it that way. I feel like there's just lots of conversations happening, and I'm like, are these important conversations? So I'm like really like trying to take things down, and I'm like, well, I don't, it's just, I've never read a book like this. I think maybe I've just been reading like silly little romances, and this is like not a silly little romance. This is like, oh, it's fantasy, like pay attention. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm too dumb for this. I don't know, guys. I'm just gonna keep going because I've had a few of my mutuals message me. I posted this on my story saying that I've never read a hardback before, and it's just like so heavy. It's like an arm workout. They've said that it's like one of their favorite books and that they loved it, and I was like, that's giving me some hope. But I'm also like, you seem like a smart lady, and I might not be on that same like wavelength as you to like understand and interpret this book, but that's okay. I'm gonna try to be one of those girlies, because you know, sometimes I just got to step out of my comfort zone, which is silly little romances. I am enjoying reading something different, I must give it that, because I'm so used to reading like the same thing happening again and again in a book, and this is just so completely out of my realm that I'm interested, but I'm also, I think it's just the confusion that's putting me off. I think that's those first 50 pages I was like, I was pretty much doing the Brittany Broski, like, I have no idea. Anyways, I'm going to continue reading this today while I edit. I'm just going to read this in between and try like get through like a few pages at a time, like set myself like sometimes I feel, I don't know if anyone else does this, but like when you're struggling to get through a book, I'll like force myself to read say like one chapter, and then I can give myself like a treat, such as like I'll go make myself a coffee, or I'll watch a YouTube video. Like I just to look forward to, and I'm like, okay, I'll just have to push through this so it gets me through, and then hopefully something within that chapter piques my interest and I want to keep reading. So I'm gonna try read like maybe 1 or 2 chapters and see if it keeps drawing me in. I do have actually quite a few YouTube videos that have come up over the weekend that I haven't watched yet, so I love when all the book girlies end up posting at the same time. It's just so good. I just finished having my shower and I got some book mail which arrived from some publishers, but I realized I haven't shown you guys the recent purchases I got from Costco. So I did buy Present City, and I did actually technically already have the first book, which I bought in Australia. Never read it because I've always been told you have to read Throne of Glass first, and I have never got around to reading that. So I've always just had it on my shelf, and I don't really like this cover, so I was like, I'm probably just gonna sell this now. Actually, I might keep it just in case, you know. So I got these 2 covers. All I know is that it's vampires and it's like a modern day fantasy. Very happy about that. Then at Costco they had the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. We had all 3 books and they were only 13 quid. Oh, and I forgot to say that these 2 books here were 5 quid each at Costco. So good. Got these for 13 quid for all 3, which, let's have a look at the covers. I think they are the new covers, to be honest. I think that's the new cover. But yeah, I've never read any V.E. Schwab books, so I'm excited to read them. Oh, it's so heavy. Finally, I got Throne of Glass series, and they're all the new covers as well. Well, I think these are the new ones. I don't know if I think these are the new ones for the UK. So we do have Assassin's Blade first, which is the order I think I'm going to start in. I'm just going to do it because I think it's only 5 novellas in here. That's short story, and it like gives a little bit of background before going to Throne of Glass. Apparently it makes it more emotional, and I'm all for the emotions and I want the backstory, so I'm definitely going to start with Throne of Glass first. But sorry, Assassin's Blade first. Yeah, I think it's the new covers, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I got the completed series as a box set, and I'm definitely going to be keeping, oh my god, don't break the book. I'm definitely going to be keeping the box. I mean, like, look at it, the box is like so cute. I definitely want to be starting it over the coming months. I am going away for a holiday for Christmas. I was thinking maybe taking these away with me because I'm going to be with my family and we're just like staying somewhere for a week and nothing to do. I'm probably just going to read the entire week. So I was thinking maybe I'll just bring these with me for Christmas and just spend the entire time doing this. Obviously I'll vlog it too. Then I've just got this in the post, which was what reminded me to show you guys. So I'm praying it's what I think it is. Oh, it's Funny Feelings. That's not the book I thought it was going to be. I got Funny Feelings by Tara Jewett. This is actually a lot thinner than what I was expecting. How many pages is it? Oh, it's less than 300. Okay, all I know about this is it's a comedian, single dad, and a workplace relationship, and it's like comedians, which is why she's holding the mic. I did actually read the first chapter of this, but when I got into it I was like, I am not in the mindset to be reading this, so I stopped reading, and I was like, I'll come back to it because I've heard so many people giving this 5 stars. And yeah, the publishers sent me a list of their books, which they do every month, and they said, these are our new releases, which ones are you interested in? That one for sure. So I did read it on the Kindle the first time, but now I've got it in a physical book, which is going to give me more incentive to just pick it up because I've just heard so many good things about it. It's a really cute cover. Hey guys, the lighting is terrible. I don't know, I think it's just the trees and the lighting hitting me, but anyway. So talking about Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. Yeah, I didn't like this book. I actually ended up DNFing it, which I'm so sad to say because I hated the writing style. I think it was very pretentious, and I was just confused the entire time. I don't know if it's just this author's writing, like I maybe just don't get her lyricalness, or like sometimes she'd go from being like talking like it was a script, and then all of a sudden it'd be talking from a viewpoint of the narrator talking to me as the reader, and then it would go back to like a different viewpoint of third person but from different point of views of the characters, and I was just getting really confused. Generally, like the entire plot was just so boring. I could not get interested in it. I did not care about it. What I thought was going on all the time ended up not being what's happening, and then it was so confusing. Like I fucking hated this. I'm sorry, but I really hated it. I don't know what this author has I don't know if all her books like this, because it's my first time reading an Olivia Blake book, but if all her books are like this, I probably won't be reading her work. And I did buy the Atlas 6, so I probably will definitely still give that one a go since I've already purchased the book. It was so descriptive for no reason at all. She would use about like 20 to 30 words to describe something that could have been described in 5 words. You're just getting like all these different adjectives and things that aren't needed. I don't know, it was really strange. Like maybe I'm just not like literary enough for this. Like I'm not a literary girl, so I was not vibing. I got up to the 40%. I was like, oh, I'll just keep pushing, it might get better. Then I got to like the 45% mark and I was like, I cannot keep doing this. I just decided like I'm not going to force myself to enjoy to read something I'm not enjoying. Unfortunately for this one, it's a no, a 0 stars, a DNF. I went and checked like the reviews on Goodreads straight afterwards as well, and a lot of people were saying the same thing, but then there were a lot of people saying that this book completely changed their life trajectory, like this was a masterpiece, and I'm like, what am I not getting? Am I dumb? A lot of people were saying the exact same thing as me, so I felt, I don't know, a little bit validated in that sense because I thought I was alone in this, and not my favorite book. The next book in the series, I'll have to explain the emojis. So the book on the left with the yellow background, it did have a guard emoji and a camera movie. What are they called? Like the action thing? You can see the emoji. You know what I'm talking about. And on the top right hand side, you can see one that has like an orange background with a full leaf and also a little camera. Sorry, not a little camera. It's one of those big ass film cameras. It wasn't until after I chose these emojis and I'd posted them that I really looked at them and I was like, that one does not match. And the reason you chose that was just so random, and like you shouldn't. you really need to read the back of the books a little bit more, Tash. Like I don't know what I was choosing, but anyway, I read Netflix on the back and I was like, I'm just going to choose something to do with film. Anyway, moving on. The results came back. This one was complete opposite ends of the scale. There was a clear winner by halfway through the time, and that ended up being, I only brought the book that won, but it was a choice between The Bodyguard by Catherine Center and You Again. You Again obviously won. I think all the books that haven't been chosen are on my October TBR. That's your guys' fault. It's not mine. If I don't get to my October TBR, that's on you. So I started You Again, and I am about, I think I say less than 100. Where am I at? I'm 76 pages in, so I'm very new. The one thing I've noticed about this book is the chapters are they're very strange. Like there's not really chapters. They're really fucking long too. Like they're like 30-40 pages, some of these. It's in third person, and it's just taking us on a timeline of like how their interactions have been over the years. It says chapter 4 and I'm 75 pages in, so that just gives you a little bit of like an understanding of how long these chapters are. It is set in New York, and it's based around a girl who she's a reformed playgirl. I think that's what this is going to be. Like she's going to be a reformed playgirl because right now she doesn't want anyone to commit with her. She's very scared of having a emotional relationship with anyone. Very clear with setting her boundaries with the men that she's sleeping with and what she wants out of the relationship. Josh actually ended up meeting her through Ari's roommate who was dating her. The roommate ended up being late to a date that they were having at the apartment, and then Josh and Ari met that way, and he is a professional chef. I don't know, they just didn't get off on the right foot, and so far now every time they've met they've had some little bit of a bickerment or just pushing each other's buttons a bit, and it's been fun to read. I'm enjoying it, but I don't know where it's going. Like, there's been no directional in like the writing as to like where the plot's going, so I don't like it's so far they're just having conversations. Like, I don't know where this plot's going. Like, there is no plot. I don't know what's happening, but I'm liking it. Like, I'm not bored, not like I was with Masters of Death. This is interesting. Maybe because it's a silly little romance. I mean, so far I will keep you guys updated with anything else that happens. I finished You Again this morning, and I've sat on it for a little bit. It's about midday now. It's like a really tough book for me to rate. I was sitting between a 2.5 to 3.5 star, but I think I'm just gonna sit in the middle and do a 3-star rating. I think the last time I spoke to you that I said that there wasn't really like a direction in the plot, and I think more as I read into this book I realized that the plot was more character development, meaning because Ari had commitment issues, it was about her being vulnerable and allowing herself to be in a relationship and open up herself to someone else. With the struggles that Josh goes through throughout the book, that was about him overcoming them personally and realizing that he's allowed to fail, but you know, once you do fail, you need to get back up and keep going. So those were sort of like the plot lines as such, and as much as I do like it, it worked for them, but I think the outcome of those plots was not what I wanted. But anyway, so what I did like about the book was the wittiness. I think the dry humor in it all was just so funny. It's right up my alley. There was quite a few times that I was just laughing out loud while reading this book, so it's definitely got the rom-com vibes, but just like on a not a darker level. It's more like an angsty, or I wouldn't say like this is your cheesy rom-com, that's all I'm gonna say, but I think the way that the wittiness in the writing was definitely rom-com vibes. It just wasn't cheesy rom-com. So don't go into this thinking you're gonna get a rom-com. There's a lot of miscommunication, there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of right person, wrong time, those sorts of vibes. So what I did like was that I liked Ari as a character, but I didn't love her. She's not my favorite. Josh, however, I mean, let's just be honest. This book is based in New York and he's a chef. He's very fucking pretentious, like so pretentious that he was just pissing me off a lot, and he didn't really care that he was being pretentious as much as his character did develop towards the end. I don't know, I don't really like reading about those sorts of, like, I'm not talking about like a mafia boss who knows that he's, you know, better than the rest of his guys. I'm talking like a guy who thinks he's just better than everyone and everyone around him. And you know what I mean. You know what I mean, those type of guys. Also, the chapters for the first 100 pages were just extremely long. I don't know why, but then as the book progressed, they just got shorter and shorter as time went on, so it got better, so at least there was that. The first like half of the book as well, I must admit that they were, like, there wasn't even like a friendship going at that point. It was a lot of hatred the first half of the book, and then it was friendship for like a short period of time, and then the romance was really rushed, so I thought they needed more time with the friendship. But I also like the fact that there was the timeline of like over many, many years, like a decade. So it was a lot better than reading like an Insta lobby thing. You get like that timeline gap. I wish we had more of like the friends situation to let them ponder and grow, and like her to grow by herself and him to grow by himself. I also found that Josh was just like really pushy with certain things with her, and I know that was because he was going through something, and he does work through it later on and apologizes for it and all that stuff. I still recommend you to read it because I think some people may like it, some people won't. I think it was okay. I just didn't absolutely fall in love with it. So yeah, that is the end of the series. The highest rating book we got for this whole video was a 3-star, and that was for both Filthy Rich Vampires and You Again. So those were my ratings and final ratings as I put them on my Goodreads. The Rich Vampires, I may continue on with the series. It just depends. Probably if the publishers send it to me, then I'll probably read it, but I'm probably not going to go seek it out myself. And You Again, as I've just talked about as well. So then the other book I read was Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, which I did DNF, and unfortunately just did not vibe with the writing style. It was not for me. Maybe I'll try one of her books again, maybe in like the future, probably not too soon because I'm a little scarred, but I'll definitely still open to trying a couple more books. I'm always trying more than one book from one author. With all other authors that I've DNF'd, I've never just closed off my opinions on them. Sometimes books work, sometimes they don't for other people. So yeah, I'm still going to try a couple of her books and see if she is for me. And if I have like maybe 2 or 3 DNFs, then I might decide not to pick up her books. But yeah, for this one, it just wasn't it. But overall, we did all right. I'm not going to say it was a complete fail. We got 3 stars, so it's still like books I would recommend. I really enjoy making these videos where you guys get to vote, so definitely go follow me on my Instagram so you can be involved in the voting process when I upload my next pictures. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll love you and leave you, but I'll see you in the next video.